some of the hardest doors to keep closed are the ones that we closed ourselves. You know, nobody forced us to leave that relationship. We knew it wasn't healthy, and that's why we left. Nobody forced us to walk away from that friendship. We were constantly disrespected, and that's why we left. Nobody forced us to quit that job. We were waking up every morning feeling like life was slowly draining out of us. No, we left for a reason. And yet, a few weeks later, a few months later, or even sometimes a few years later, we find ourselves standing in front of the same door with our hand on the handle. And not because anything changed, but because we just got lonely. Today we're going to speak about some of the doors that we might reopen, that we closed, that are supposed to remain closed. Uh, you know, but I think one of the biggest issues is loneliness. Because loneliness has a terrible memory, if I can say. When you're lonely, your brain becomes an incredible editor. It cuts out the arguments, the disrespect, the sleepless nights, the anxiety. It keeps the good memories, the inside jokes, the good mornings, the road trips, the moments that made you smile. It's like watching a movie trailer instead of a whole film. That's why people text their exes at 2 a.m. in the morning. That's why some people, when they finally escaped a toxic friendship, they start wondering if maybe they overreacted. That's why some people go back to workplaces that treated them like they were replaceable. Of course, they were replaceable, but none the same. People shouldn't be treated like that, And nothing changed. It's just that the distance made the pain blurry. Don't know if it makes sense. And rejection doesn't always end the chase. One thing I've realized about rejection is that it doesn't always make people walk away. Sometimes it makes people chase even harder. Someone says they don't want you. Someone shows you they don't value you. Someone keeps choosing everybody except you. And instead of accepting the answer, your brain tries to turn it into a challenge. You start telling yourself things like, if I become better, if I lose weight, if I make more money, if I prove myself, then maybe they'll finally choose me. Now think about that. You're trying to convince someone to see your value after they have already decided not to. Even if they eventually come back, do you really want a love that had to be negotiated? Do you? Because the right people don't need a sales pitch. They don't. And one of the doors that we keep reopening are friendships. Friendships end for reasons too. People only talk about breakups. Nobody talks about the friendship breakups. Sometimes the people you have known the longest, become the people who respect you the least. Mm? You become the friend who is always available, always understanding, always forgiving, always reaching out fast. You know, start looking needy. And then one day you stop texting, and suddenly the friendship disappears. Hmm? That tells you everything you need to know. Some friendships don't even end because of one big fight. They end because one person was carrying the entire friendship. No? Another door that we like to reopen is the old jobs. Going back to that job. Mm, mm. I think we all have heard someone say, I know that job was terrible, but at least it was stable. I get it. I get it. Mm. Bills don't care about your happiness, no. But you have to understand that some jobs don't just pay your rent, no. They slowly convince you that this is all you're capable of. No, you stop dreaming, you stop creating, you stop believing that there's anything better for you out there. They stress you out, they make you fall into depression. You have jobs which the people you are working with are very toxic environments. No. I think it's very exhausting. Even if it's paying your bills, it's very exhausting. I think then another door that we like to chase is your old self. And this might be the most dangerous door of all. The old version of you. No? The people around you are changing. The goals are changing. Your values are changing. But you keep trying to become the version everyone already knew. Growth feels uncomfortable because it asks you to disappoint the version of yourself that wanted everybody to like you. You know, maybe you're quieter now. Maybe your circle is smaller. Maybe your priorities have changed. That isn't failure. That is evolution. And the only change is inevitable. Change has to happen. The other truth is that sometimes we reopen doors because we are hoping for a different ending. Not a different person, not a different friendship or a different workplace, just a different ending. We hoping things will end differently this time. We want closure that never came. We want an apology that was never given. We want someone to finally realize what was meant. To realize we were meant for them. But we forget that closure isn't something that someone gives you. Sometimes closure is declining. You don't need another conversation to keep going or keep moving forward. I think one of the biggest signs that you're growing isn't that you stop missing people. It's that you stop letting the feeling, the same feeling that you had for them, make your decisions. You can miss someone and still know they aren't good for you. You can appreciate the memories without trying to recreate them. You can be grateful for what a job taught you without going back to the place that emptied you. Even closed doors. Every closed door is asking you a simple question. Uh, are you looking back because it's where you're meant to be, or because moving forward feels unfamiliar? Because unfamiliar isn't always dangerous. Sometimes it's just the first chapter of a different life. And maybe, just maybe, that's why some doors are supposed to stay closed. Because what's behind them has no value. But because everything that you're hoping for is waiting for you in the direction you're afraid to walk. Sometimes you have to just, take the leap of faith and move forward, one step at a time. Take that leap of faith and close that door permanently and move forward. You know, better things are always waiting for you. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for watching. If you're new, please subscribe. I'm Ozzy and I make videos like this almost every day. See you in the next one. Peace.